this is Kal Kat, the Kal Katster, and this is a review of Veritas, the 8th episode of Lower Decks. I thought it was the 8th last week, so it's the 8th this week. Yeah, something screwy with the listings. Sure. There's something going off outside. Oh well, gonna keep going. Yeah, this episode had the crew going to a planet where these goofy sort of lizard dudes were putting them on trial, the Lower Decks guys on trial to figure out what the crew were doing regarding their randomness. This is Bad Randomness, the movie. Going back to an old music video. Also, 10D is clearly, hyper and very similar to some characters in Starship Locations. The Borg guy too, the other ones. But yeah, she's yeah. And then we have Ransom and Mariner, and what's Ransom and Mariner? Is she like her? Yeah, I don't get it. Anyway, the mother or something. I think she's supposed to be her mother. But Mariner and Rutherford and the guy Bullimer are on trial, and allegedly, and this alien keeps shouting at them that he wants them to tell them the truth into the horn of justice or horn of truth or whatever. It's called Veritas, the episode, and they go on about random stories, and which the B story is a rescue mission to rescue the guy who's putting them on trial. Spoiler. And everything is not what you think. And there's a Romulan ship, and the guy's Rutherford's bionic device keeps resetting like a cheesy Windows program, which was funny. So he doesn't remember things that he's doing halfway through. 10D goes on the rescue mission as well, indirectly, and they assume because she cleans the Dr. Cat's cat fur with one of those roller pen things off the chairs, which is something done on location. They clearly have read location. They've clearly read Gay Kitty, actually, which is awesome. So how did they get a hold of that? I don't know. Maybe it's just been mentioned in the Kal Kat show. The Adventures of Quark. They've read that. And the cat doctor is basically Quark. So there you go. But no, she's a Kzinti. She's supposed to be a Niven character. But she's Quark. But she's Quark. And Quark passed away around 2008 or so. So the cat. So, which would be consistent with the timeline, because this story takes place in 2380. Would have been 2003. Anyway, there probably isn't a connection, but there is. Clearly on the same wavelength. And yes, the episode has them going to the Romulan ship. There's a scene where it's cloaked. They steal a bird of prey. It's cloaked. You get to see Garrett cruisers going around and stuff, and you get to see aliens things. Also, you get to see a cameo by John Delancey as Q. Just because it was funny. It wasn't me being John Delancey. It was actually John Delancey, and it wasn't Q. It wasn't me. I swear. No, it was not me. It was John Delancey. And puts them in a chess game at one point. Chess soccer game, and with chess pieces, because they couldn't do that on the show. So Lower Decks continues with the. Yeah, so the trial thing turns out to be a party. Very silly track. If they're in 2380, they're in the time of the first Chimera. So probably they'll have an episode where they encounter the first Chimera with Hazel and Halter on board, and that would be cool, because that'd be cool. And Locarno, they should do that. And if they encounter a giant teddy bear, I'm telling you, if they do that, they've totally read my stuff. But yeah, they haven't done that yet. They probably will. Also, there was a salt vampire joke. There was a reference to a giant Spock from the animated series. There was a reference to Khan and a creature that was on the Scottish planet, wanted Crusher. There's too many references to go into details. So what is the I know Trek Yards does full on like analysis of every page because they can actually get the clips and air them, but we don't have that. We can't do that. We would get flagged. So yeah, that's not gonna happen. But we can't show you clips of Silly in Space either. Partly because of Starship Locations, partly because it was completely written. There were no episodes of that. So they were all written down as like scripts and screenplays and fan films and stories. The existing fan film is Starship Chimera, the 3-part. Each one is an hour, and you put all the 3 parts together, and you get like this epic sort of Marvel Avengers Q episode. They reference that in this movie, in this episode of Lower Decks. They reference that story, so that's awesome. Including them chasing a passive view screen and stuff. They'll probably have Kirk God show up before too long. And they'll be like, yes. Oops. Yeah, and they show the Romulan planet before the supernova and all that. Anyway, so yeah, that's basically the episode of Lower Decks. That's my thoughts on it. I can't show you review footage. And you could say like, oh, well, where's these fan film things? They're out there. Silly in Space has been on Amazon for over a year, so it's not only entirely possible, even the designs are similar. So yeah, so it's a reverse of the cross pollination. I know there's someone out there that are thinking like, well, how could that be? CBS has a history of borrowing other people's ideas. I don't mind because we've been with it for like 30 years or so. Of course they're gonna copy us. Yeah, we don't mind. But yeah, tardigrades or Axanar or those other people that were screwed. But that's different. We weren't. Well, so Q shows up. In fact, the chess pieces people sort of looked like the walls of the Continuum with the shimmering poles. Go watch Starship Chimera. You will see the same visual effects in there as in this episode. You're like, wait a minute, that can't be a coincidence. That's not a coincidence. The chessboard and all that. Set up on the glowing. I put it on a glowing table, and I had like the glowing lights around it. Yeah, it was supposed to be a game board. It's more of a cathedral than a game board, but there were game board pieces on it, and they were the pieces. That's Starship Chimera. That's the last act of the Star Trek story. There you go. Yeah, and that's cool. And the Axanar people have done a puppet show version of Prelude to Axanar. That's like 7 minutes. You can watch it if you want to. It's all right. And also we reviewed the First Frontier, the novel-inspired story of a Robert April fan film, which Trek Yards had something to do with. They were on that. Anyway, Lower Decks, Veritas. Yeah.